Once upon a time, there lived a very beautiful woman called Azuka. Azuka was the kind of woman everyone wanted to be close to. She was young, beautiful, and very talented. Her boutique at Ogwashi Market was filled with beautiful handmade bags made by Azuka herself. However, these bags weren't your regular kind of bags. Some blinked when you looked at them for too long. Others twitched like something inside was trying to get out. One had what looked like a stitched up mouth. Another was covered in what resembled human skin. A particular design had something that looked like a live snake. Nobody with common sense would buy them, but Azuka's shop was filled with women from all walks of life. They would enter the boutique, and after a few minutes, they would come out with shaking hands, holding their new bags to their chest like a newborn baby. Sometimes the bags moved slightly in their arms, and sometimes they smiled. Her bags were so beautiful that no one ever returned to ask for a refund. If you don't own one of Azuka's bags, then you haven't arrived yet. Her special bags weren't made for poor people. They were specially crafted for rich madams. But Azuka had a rule, a very strict one. Before any bag left her boutique, Azuka would lean in close, so close that he could smell the bitter cola in her breath. Then she would whisper the rules in hushed tones. Rule number 1, she would begin. Don't open the bag at midnight. Not 11:59, not 12:01. Never. Rule number 2, don't allow your blood to touch it, not even by mistake. Rule number 3, never look inside for more than 5 seconds. Count loud if you must, and don't blink. Rule number 4, which was the last, never ever gift the bag to someone else. If you don't want it again, return it to me or bury it. Most women would laugh awkwardly at the point, thinking it was all part of some strange market women drama. But Azuka's face would stay stone cold. Then, like clockwork, she would chuckle. A soft, sticky laugh that stayed in your ears like the buzz of a mosquito. After that, she would wipe her hands on her wrapper, always the same way, like someone drying blood off their fingers, even though there was nothing there. Go well, she would say with a smile that never reached her eyes. But not everyone went well. In fact, no one did. The day Omonigo walked into Azuka's boutique, the sun refused to shine. The sky was bright, yes, but strangely dull, like it was hiding something. Omonigo had just buried her husband 2 weeks ago and was still mourning his demise. Some said she poisoned him. Others said the man died from over-enjoyment. Either way, she wasn't shedding tears. As soon as she entered the shop, a red velvet bag on the shelf with tiny eyelids sewn into its sides caught her attention. The lids fluttered as if they were waking up, and something in her chest whispered, "Take it." Azuka handed her the bag without a word, like she already knew it had chosen her. From that day, strange things began to happen. Whenever Omonigo needed something, she would reach into the bag and find it. Whenever she lost her money, car key, or even underwear, she would find it inside the bag. At first, she was excited and even promised to buy more bags. But one day, the bag gave her something she didn't ask for. That day, she was searching for her toothbrush, but as she dipped her hand inside, she touched something strange. It wasn't her toothbrush. It was her late husband's wedding ring that disappeared before his burial. She was very excited and called the bag my magic bag. However, one night, during a storm, she reached inside the bag, but what she pulled out made her heart stop. It was a photograph of herself with her eyes missing. There were black holes where her eyes should have been. Terrified, she threw the photo in the fireplace. The moment the flames touched it, the bag let out a long piercing wail. From that night, Omonigo couldn't sleep. Her dreams were filled with whispers and the bag kept growing heavier. Weeks later, She was found barefoot walking along a bush road outside Sapele, laughing and crying at the same time, with the bag still in her hands. Another victim of Azoka's evil bag was Chinaza, an Instagram influencer. She was light-skinned, curvy, and always perfectly made up. But Chinaza had a problem. Her beauty was expensive, too expensive. She needed a miracle to stay relevant. That miracle was in the form of a shiny pink handbag from Azoka's boutique. It had no zip, no button, and no base. Just a perfect glowing shell. Chinaza has been admiring the bag since Azoka posted it on Instagram, but it cost $20,000, and since then, she has been saving to buy it. That day, she walked into Azoka's boutique ready to buy the bag, but unaware that she was buying her way to hell. "Won't your things fall out?" Chinaza asked, staring at the bag. Azoka smiled and said, "Try it first." And she did. The bag was magical. Every lipstick, powder, and contour kit she dropped in vanished into its depths. Yet, when she reached in, she always pulled out exactly what she needed. From the moment Chinaza walked out of Azoka's shop, her life changed. Brands started calling her. "What foundation do you use? You are glowing, sis." And her followers even doubled, then tripled. She was gradually becoming the biggest influencer on Instagram, until she wasn't. Then suddenly, her face started changing. It began as dry patches around her jaw. At first, she thought it was sunburn from the fake organic cream she bought, but later, it started peeling like an onion. She panicked, but each time she looked into the bag's mirror, hidden in a small side pocket, her face looked flawless again, better than real life. It became her secret weapon, until others started noticing something strange. Her boyfriend Charles stared at her one day and screamed, saying that her face looked like melted plastic. The day her mother saw her, she cried and told her to go and confess whatever she did. Chinaza didn't understand. In every mirror, she looked perfect, but in water and photos taken by others, she was unrecognizable. Her skin was still falling off, but once she looked at the mirror in the bag, she saw herself as a queen. One night, she decided to go live on Instagram, and that was when everything changed. "Hey fam, I have got something exciting," she began. But midway through the stream, her smile froze and her nose carved in. One of her ears slipped off like soft meat. Her followers watched in horror as her face collapsed on camera. And since then, Chinaza has been in the hospital receiving surgical treatment, but no amount of surgery could restore her beauty. The next was Queen. Queen didn't believe in juju, demons, or anything spooky. All she believed in was quick hands and fast legs. She was one of the biggest pickpockets in Ogwashi market, but she was never caught. So when she wandered into Azoka's boutique one rainy afternoon, it wasn't because she wanted to buy anything. She was looking for what she could take. Azoka was in the back humming her creepy tune when Queen's eyes fell on a small leather purse. She slipped it into her bra and vanished before the doorbell could jingle. When she got home that day, she opened it, expecting to find cash or charms, or at least something weird to sell. But what she saw instead made her heart stop beating. Inside the bag, a screen flickered to life like a small cinema trapped inside. She saw a woman crying on a dusty floor, blood pouring from her mouth. Then a man screaming as he was pushed from a balcony. Both victims looked familiar. They were people Queen had stolen from in the past. The bag had recorded their last moments right before she took from them, but she laughed it off. "I beg," she muttered, "who they do Nollywood inside bag?" The next day, she went out stealing from people again and causing more havoc. But one day, her hands started changing. They grew pale, long and bony, as if they belonged to someone else. Her veins disappeared and her skin felt cold. She tried to wear gloves to hang them, but deep down, she was dying. One fateful day, after she stole her neighbor's fowl and cooked hot pepper soup, she started coughing violently. She coughed until blood started pouring out from her mouth, and just like that, she passed away. Terrible things were happening in Ogwashi. but no one knew where the problem was coming from. One barren woman claimed that a live snake always appeared on her bed whenever she wanted to do it with her husband. Another woman claimed she saw human eyes staring at her one night, and since then, her mouth would not stop smelling. But Azuka was still soaring high like an eagle. Every night, she would sit in her shop, crafting evil bags. Some were made from live snakes, others were made from real human eyes obtained from human parts. It was the only way for her gate of wealth to remain open. One day, Rose, a beautiful woman who had bought Azuka's bag, decided to go against the rules Azuka had given her. She was curious to see what would happen if she went against them. That day when she got home, she used a razor blade to pierce her skin and sprinkled the blood on the bag. Immediately, the bag turned into a snake and entered inside her body through her sacred area. Rose was taken to several hospitals and prayer houses, but it was to no avail. Her body was rotting while she was still alive. When her mother, Madame Gold, heard of her predicament, she rushed immediately to see her. Madame Gold was one of the most powerful Christians in her community. She had faced several demons and conquered them. Immediately she saw Rose, she knew that her sickness wasn't ordinary. At around 12 midnight, Madame Gold carried her Bible and olive oil and started praying around the house. She walked into the kitchen, toilet, and bedroom, sprinkling anointing oil all over. But the moment she got to Rose's room, something shifted. She moved closer, and that was when her eyes caught the bag, the one Rose purchased from Azuka. She didn't say anything, but she knew she had found a solution. That night, she took her daughter's phone and began to research. After some research, she discovered that the bag was gotten from Azuka, a bag seller in Ogwashi Market. The next day, she called her senior pastor, and he arrived almost immediately. Together, they headed straight to Azuka's shop. The moment Azuka saw them, she knew that trouble had arrived. Madame Gold and her pastor didn't waste time. They started praying and sprinkling anointing oil all over the shop. People stared in shock and confusion, unaware of what was happening. Inside, Azuka was consulting her master and trying to gather more strength. But never has it been heard that darkness prevailed over light. Before Azuka knew it, her shop caught flames on its own. She had no choice but to run out immediately. She wanted to escape, but the angry youth outside who had heard the story held her tight. When the fire was put out, strange things were found inside her shop: human parts, live snakes, baby skull, and many more. People screamed. Some grabbed big stones and began to hit her. Azuka begged for mercy, but it was too late. Before the pastor could intervene, she was dragged to a nearby river and burned alive. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned something from this story. Please do wait to share, like, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.